4 parents have pled guilty in an expansive college admissions cheating scheme. Last Friday, Robert Flaxman, Marjorie Clapper, and Jane Buckingham admitted guilt to charges of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. All 3 allegedly paid a combined $140,000 in order to cheat college entrance exams for their kids. 13 parents have pleaded guilty so far in the case. And the parents include Desperate Housewives star Felicity Huffman.
And as the scandal continues to make headlines, we wanted to take a closer look at the impact it's having. CBS 4's Jim DeFede joins us now to explain what it means for students applying to colleges next year and lessons every parent and student should know.
The scandal has led universities such as Yale, Stanford, and Georgetown, as well as the University of Southern California, to review their admission practices. So what happens next? Joining me now to discuss the ramifications of all of this is Neha Gupta, CEO and founder of College Shortcuts, which helps high school kids get into their dream college. Neha, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I love Miami and the Miami Heat, so glad to be here.
All right. Well, let's start with a different kind of heat, which is the heat that some of these parents are feeling in the cheating scandal. Was this scandal a huge surprise to you? I mean, you work in this area. You're a college, you help kids with their college applications. Was this a dirty secret that everyone sort of knew about?
With the work that I've done at College Shortcuts for the last 12 years, I will tell you it definitely was a surprise. And yes, there has been a lot of families that probably did use the back door, but when we work with families, we actually interview every family we work with to ensure that they have the same types of values we do. And I think for a lot of us in the industry, it's very disheartening because it really puts a bad name to college consulting, when in reality there's a lot of us here that really love working with children, making sure that they're packaged correctly, and helping them through this process that can be extremely competitive.
So what impact has it had on your industry?
I think one of the things that's happened is a lot of families have gotten scared about using a consultant because of this situation. But I always lead it back to the fact that, when you look at even medicine, there are some doctors that have been found to inscribe their initials on people's bones. But that doesn't mean people don't still go to get surgeries or go to their doctor. So in the same way, I think families are realizing that this is a small case because it was barely 50 to 80 families when you look at the competition of 4 million students every single year. So I think most families are realizing that, still when parents apply to college, it was pre-internet. They know that all they needed were good grades and good scores. And now that can barely just get you in the door. There's so much more when it comes to the essays and resume that having that outside help can be very crucial.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I think one of the things that came out of this for old folks like me is that this is a huge business. This is an industry.
It's more than $1 billion industry when you look at the need for academic prep, test prep, all the different aspects of helping a student in the application process. But on top of it, I think what needs to be kind of addressed is the fact that a lot of students feel stress and anxiety. And to assume that no one needs a coach or a tutor or someone to assist would be ludicrous. It's very important for a lot of these students to get outside help during this time, because let's be real, and I'm sure you can say it too, teenage years are not always that easy.
Well, I seem to remember something about that. But how much does a service like yours cost, if you don't want to say how much yours costs?
Yeah, so I would say they range. It really depends. For us, we customize based on every student. So at College Shortcuts, like I said, we tend to interview every family, and then we customize it based on every student. I think it depends on the type of company, if it's a mom and pop store or if it's a Walmart-sized company. It really ranges. So it would be hard for me to say.
But it's exactly thousands of dollars.
It can range. You could have something as low as $50 an hour, or upwards of, I guess, apparently millions of dollars when you look at this case. So it's kind of like buying a pair of shoes. It really depends on if you want to go to Walmart and pay less for a pair of flip-flops, or you want to go to Neiman Marcus for a nice pair.
Is there something inherently wrong with that in some way? I mean, even the phrasing that you used earlier, you said, helping the student be packaged correctly.
Yes.
I mean, the notion of we're packaging the children, we're trying to find ways to to help them either write or work with them in writing their resumes, with their college essays, those sorts of things. Does it create a system where those who have money are able to hire a service like yours and get ahead, whereas those who don't have money are left behind? Does it create that chasm even wider?
I think when you look at the differences even between public and private school, like if we want to take a layer back, there is a difference between the levels of services you get from a public or private school, right? So when it even comes down, when I talk about packaging, to be very clear, the student is still writing their own essays and resume. What a college consultant does is they help them to find the right angle that will help them in getting in that door. Because a student can do all the right things. They can have good grades, good test scores, but if they can't present themselves well, and this is a skill set to me that matters much more than just getting into college. This is something I'm trying to help students in internships, in after they get out of college. How are they going to use a good resume? How are they going to present themselves well in an interview? So to me, these are skills that are important no matter what your background is. But in general, I feel that packaging is one of the issues that I see all the time when we see even adults trying to apply for things, and they may have all the right ingredients, but because it's not packaged in a way that's easy and quick and presented in a beautiful way, it's really hard to get a sense of who that is.
But again, that notion of those who can afford to get that advantage have the money. Granted, Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin can pay a lot more, but still, there's a disparity between those who can afford a service like yours and those who can't, isn't there?
Absolutely. One of the things I did was I actually created online courses, and I'm very proud to say that if a family actually follows my work on Facebook and reads the books that I've published, I get emails all the time when a student that may have been disadvantaged utilized a $19 book of mine or watched me for free on Facebook, and literally they get into schools like Stanford and top schools just because I'm so passionate about what I do. So I will say that yes, there is a chasm between if you can afford a college consultant or not, and I do feel that if families can, they should get one. But if they can't, they absolutely have so many resources that we offer here at College Shortcut.
It's a new world. Neha Gupta, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much, Jim.